Well, when I came here in 2012, and I had a very strict teacher in my MBA for entrepreneurship, so I was like very hard, like selecting with the criteria, startups, everything should be like with the guidelines. I came here and I saw like very raw startups, which could not say what is their market exactly and what is their monetization exactly.
Without a business plan?
Yes, they had.
Okay.
They knew how many items they need to sell or something like this at least. Actually, this was the beginning of era for very fast-oriented accelerators and incubators who were dreaming of very fast exits. And last year we saw them close down. Because not many exits happened. I would say like nearly zero. But they already were engaged in very long projects with the global markets. So this was like the first big wave. This year, I would say that many of these fast-oriented incubators and accelerators closed down, and because of the Ukrainian, like, not very wonderful situation, many big businessmen would prefer sell their assets and keep it cash. But still, they are thinking of investment into IT for two reasons. One is like really high profitability, like generally for IT, like globally, and specifically for Ukraine because we have lots of technical talent. And second, it's not very easy to take away brutally the IT business. So it's more protected than like the real sector. So this year there are lots of investors from real sector who want to get into IT business startups because it's a kind of a joke, but this is what most people would like agree on, that the level of risks in startups, in Ukrainian startups, is now lower than the systematic risk of a country.
Yeah, I guess that might be true. And do you see that the conflict with Russia is influencing somehow the situation with startups?
Surely it does, because, well, this conflict influences everything, like even your mood, how you wake up in the morning. And so the truth is, like as I said, that many businessmen would exit from assets even with discounted price and prefer to stay in cash. This is one thing. And the other thing is that the local market is getting, like, first, physically smaller, and second, people buy less. So the average check in every market is going down. This means that now Ukrainian startups have to have their model oriented from day one, not to Ukrainian market. So we are becoming more like Israel startups. So the startup that survived in Israel can survive everywhere. Same for Ukraine now. I would say in 2011 or 10, Ukrainian startup Udal was sold to Google for lots of money. And actually what it does, we have our Institute of Optics, and they had the technology to recognize faces. And Google needed that a lot. And
was it developed at the university?
Yeah. It's like Soviet scientists style. So they're super professional for optics, but they're not very strong for business. And local guys discovered them, and they said, like, wow, this can be a good project, what you're doing for a scientific institute. And they got money from local investors to go and travel different expos, because if you want to sell something to Google, you need to find the right person to speak to, and you need to access this person properly so that this person will really take you seriously. So it took about a year to get into the deal, just to start it. And in the end of the day, the group of scientists moved to US, and this was like acqui-hire. And the main money is still with the brokers. They stayed with the brokers. And many of those brokers, they believed that, okay, let's find a second Udal in Kyiv market or Ukrainian market, but still no second Udal came.
And what about the cooperation between the universities and the business here? in Kyiv and Ukraine as a whole?
The good universities like IT Step Computer School, the one that I cooperate with, they have multiple contracts with IT companies like Intel, Cisco, InterSystems. They make good connections with them. And strong and very good governmental universities, they also try to have as much contact with the business as possible. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that it's a very little share of general picture.
So what, in your opinion, is the best way to develop good startups with international aims in Ukraine?
So don't try to access the global market from Kyiv. Yes, you can have like technical team here. You can have founders from Kyiv. And most likely, even if you're targeting the global market, you will get your like first money in Ukraine. A lot of projects will use a local incubator or accelerator just to get introduced properly to more mature accelerators.
Mm-hmm. So is it a problem for investors when the companies registered in Kyiv?
Surely it is. First of all, because in our legislation, Ukrainian legislation, it's not possible to show the equity ownership. Mm-hmm. So if you invest like X money for 10% of equity, it's not possible to show this. And our legislation is just not adapted for this. There's
Why?
No mechanics. I don't know why. Maybe it comes from the long run of conflict, let's call it like conflict between business and the government itself, mm-hmm. which came in 80s when I was like a baby. Mm-hmm. And it still goes on. It's not a problem only for the startups, it's a general problem of business. Mm-hmm. Intellectual property registration is too long. It's easier to get it protected globally than in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Well, the general problem is the level of risks here. And we don't have lots of long money here. Mm-hmm. But these are the general problems of like the country. Mm-hmm. So say like normally any country would have non-governmental pension funds which create like stability and long money for real estate, long money for education and medical care. We don't have this. So Ukraine is the country of fast money and high risks.
So you're not thinking in a long way? Your government is not planning things?
No, not at all. Mm-hmm. No, because they shift too often. Maybe they would love to, but the situation, like, and we need to recognize and accept the reality. Mm-hmm. The situation shows us that they change too often to be even able to plan long run. I would be like very happy if it was possible, but the long run planning doesn't seem to come very soon.
Mm-hmm. And how the government is helping new companies, startups?
Well, in Ukraine we have a saying like, just don't bother us. That would be enough. Just mm-hmm. don't help us, don't touch us, don't think of us. Mm-hmm. You live your life, we live our life. This is how it looks like.
So the government is not helping, but is it making something worse for the startups?
Well, I hope that one day that will change. But currently, and it's not only about startups, it's generally about people, about business, about everything that in Soviet Union we were not like one team. Definitely people in the government were not like very good team members. Mm-hmm. And still we are not very interactive with each other.
So in the post-Soviet countries and especially as well as in Poland that we're not team workers.
Yeah, definitely not. So the level of trust is very low between business, between government, and even between people. Generally, entrepreneurship and business itself, we are not very experienced. We are not America. We are not Turkey, who used to trade whatever could be traded.
Mm-hmm. Pretty short history of.
Yeah, pretty short history, because our previous history of entrepreneurship was before 1917 or 1913.
Mm-hmm. And what about the legislation of the country? What needs to be done? You mentioned some of the examples.
You know, like sometimes it's easier to buy new socks than clean the old ones.
So just write new rules just from the scratch.
Yeah.
And maybe just last one question about the Euro 2012. Do you see a difference that this tournament makes some kind of difference in the Ukraine mentality, or thinking about the cooperation with the West countries?
I don't think so. It was like just like a casino game for those who could get the money who came in. That's it.
No advantages for the whole country?
Well, we built the stadium. Yeah. You might have seen it.
Yeah, it's not so far from this place.
So in many cities now we have fancy stadiums and fancy airports, and that's it.
That's it. Okay, so thank you very much for our interview. It was a pleasure to hear.
Thanks so much.